Did you know that insight lives in one place, emotional awareness lives in another place, and behavior change somewhere else entirely? I mean, most people assume that change happens kind of like in one step. You understand something, you feel different, and so you act different. But humans don't work that way. When we expect that there's one part of us to do the job of another part of us, it's where growth breaks down. Hi, I'm Debbie Pearson, and if you enjoy this kind of content and want to hear more, click the subscribe button. It goes a long way in helping us spread this love-based work. So let me get back to where I was. Insight lives in the thinking mind, right? Insight is cognitive. It lives in the part of the brain that recognizes patterns and creates meaning. And this is where realizations happen. It's like you suddenly see why you act a certain way. You understand where a belief comes from. You can connect the past experiences with present behavior, right? Insight answers the question, why? I don't know about you, but I've been asking why my whole life. So it turns out that asking why is valuable. It's clarifying, but it's also limited. Insight doesn't calm the nervous system. It doesn't stop a reaction in real time, and it doesn't automatically change behavior. That's not the failure of insight. That's just simply not its job. Emotional awareness lives in the nervous system. Emotional awareness does not live in thought. It lives in sensation. The tight chest, a racing heart, a drop in the stomach, that sense of urgency. This is the nervous system responding to perceived threat. So emotional awareness is the ability to notice things like, what am I feeling right now? Where do I feel it in my body? This happens before language. Now you can fully understand a pattern and still be emotionally activated by it because the nervous system doesn't respond to insight. It responds to safety. Until all emotions are noticed and steady or grounded, insight remains intellectual. Now, about behavior change. That lives in repetition and choice. Behavior does not change at the moment of understanding. It changes at the moment you decide or choose that you're going to do something differently than you've done before. And that moment usually feels uncomfortable, at least in the beginning. So behavior change happens when an old emotion arises, the body wants to respond in a familiar way, and you're able to pause long enough to choose differently. I'm not talking about willpower. I'm talking about a skill, something you practice. Because new behaviors are built through repetition while the pattern is active. Not because you did it once, not because you felt calm, but when the old response is trying to take over. That's why behavior change feels slow. It's because you're teaching the nervous system a new option. But that's the good news. You can teach your nervous system a new option. Now let's talk about relationships. Relationships live between all three. Relationships are where insight, emotion, and behavior all meet. You can have insight alone. You can steady or ground yourself in private. You can practice skills in isolation. But relationships, they're special. They activate everything all at once. They trigger emotional memory, test your best grounding techniques, and demand in time, real life choice. This is why relationships are where the deepest growth happens. And it's also where most people feel the most confused. A relationship doesn't require more understanding. It requires awareness, emotional regulation, and choice in the moment. And here's why many people think there's something wrong with them. Most people are not failing, but they're using the right tools, but in the wrong place. They try to use insight to regulate emotion or try to force behavior without nervous system support. And they expect understanding to equal change. And then when it doesn't, they assume they're broken. They're not. Each layer has its own role, and each requires a different skill. When you work with the right layer at the right time, change becomes steady instead of forced. So, what would I like for you to take away from this? That insight helps you see, emotional awareness helps you stay present, behavior change helps you choose differently, and relationships show you where to practice. Growth isn't about trying harder. It's about doing the right work in the right place, one layer at a time. Now, this video was inspired by the work of Jack Russell, creator of the self-sustaining leadership model, and it reflects what I teach inside my iTHRIVE program. But if you'd like to read Jack's article in Medium or learn more about the iTHRIVE program, you can find these resources in the description below. It was great to be with you today.